I guess so. We'll sit over here. Yeah.
In my creaky chair.
Ready? All right. Would you please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? Is that low? I didn't knock the chair, so. Pledge allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible. Right. All right, so we're going to start tonight with a public hearing on the general assistance ordinance revisions. Andy, do you want to give us a quick briefing on that?
Sure.
Yeah.
So every year, typically every year, the state sends along revisions to the maximums for the general assistance program. So in your packet, they had sent along what the increases, there were increases to those maximums. And then Tara had tried to provide a spreadsheet that kind of compared last year's maximums to these new ones. And so just to pick a couple points, I guess, so the maximum amount that we could issue a single individual went from 877 to 925. And for a household of 5, it's going from 1806 to 1912. So that's the most that the GA program can award, provide in a 30-day period. And then within all of that, there's different types of assistance that can be provided, from housing costs to heating, fuel, electric, personal supplies. And so there's maximums within each of those categories that can be provided as well.
Anybody have any questions or comments? Anybody out in the public out there? All three of you? No? All right. Do we have anybody online, Jeff? I don't see any hands up or anything. There's no one on. Okay.
No one on.
Yep.
Wow, scared a lot of people off tonight.
Yes, so, yeah. All right. Well, hearing no
All
question.
good.
What's it? You all good?
I'm good.
Hearing no questions, comments, we'll close the public hearing on general assistance ordinance revisions. And with that, we'll call the October 5th Damariscotta Board of Selectmen meeting to order. So I think we've got we have a presentation we want to get into first thing, maybe. Yeah. Anybody out there? Yeah.
Absolutely.
John? Yeah, come on up. We've got a microphone set up right in front here for everybody, and yeah, come up, introduce yourself. And
Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Ray Matthews. I'm with the Maine Department of Labor. I'm the program manager that oversees the Workplace Safety and Health Division. So I'm here to formally present Chief Roberts the SHAPE replacement plaque. So a little background with the Damariscotta Fire Department. They've been in the program for since 2010. And the SHAPE is the Safety and Health Award for public employers, which recognize employers who operate a great safety and health management system, which the Damariscotta Fire Department has since 2010. Acceptance into the SHAPE is an achievement status that will single you out as the best in workplace safety and health. Damariscotta Fire Department will be exempt from BLS program inspections for the next 3 years. They've been exempt since 2010 again. So the Damariscotta Fire Department is one of 42 fire departments that is in this program right now. So as of right now, we have 82 organizations in this program. 12 are full towns in 10 Damariscotta. So it's a huge achievement recognition program for those towns, municipalities are doing a great job. So on behalf of Governor Janet Mills, Commissioner Laura Fortman, and the Maine Department of Labor, is it now my pleasure to present you with the SHAPE.
Oh, no, you got it. It's all under control.
And can I have someone take?
oh yeah, we got this. Lead reporters here.
Better do it right, Evan. If not, your boss will really dock your pay.
Yeah.
I left that for you. Is there any way you can send me a picture? Okay, perfect. So thank you for having us
That's
down
great.
tonight, and
Thank you.
congratulations.
Yeah.
Been
Thank-
doing a great job.
Thank
Okay,
you very
thank
much
you.
for coming.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, congratulations to our chief over there. So
Yeah.
You're trying to add more to your resumes. Next time I gotta, it has to write it longer.
This isn't a reflection on me. This is a reflection on everyone on the department. We have a really good group of officers who take care of all the different station pieces. If you want to go through the painful 4-hour process of what the review entails, I'll be happy to show you all the paperwork. But you know, our truck foreman takes real good care of the trucks, and one of our selectmen here takes care of all the station checks. We have fire extinguisher checks. And so they go through all of the paperwork, and it's a testament to all of our firefighters and officers' hard work. So thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to flag it a little bit. So, on a normal sheep visit, we would do a 2-year sheep cycle. So that means you'll be exempt from any enforcement visits for the next 2 years. Those are the program visits. But since we went out, or we went to the fire department, we didn't find any hazards. Actually, there was one, but it's corrected at the time of the visit. So again, you know, 3 is the largest stretch. We'll put someone in the program, and definitely he deserves it. His fire department deserves it. So I think it's worth saying that.
Awesome.
Thank you again.
Thank
you. All of our volunteer firefighters, you guys do an excellent job. So this is impressive. Thank you, John.
Thank you very much.
You know, no, we have another volunteer on the, do you want to say anything? You're hiding over there.
I'm just saying, if volunteers can do it, full-time employees and departments should be able to do it too.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Well, all right. Well, we can move right along here, I guess. So, yeah. We have some minutes to consider here. Everybody's seen that we have the 21st and the 22nd. Everybody get a chance to look at those? The 26th, I said, sorry.
26.
21st and 26th.
So 20, just got the.
Oh,
went to
sorry.
The 21st yesterday, so might want to, if you hadn't, I don't think I forwarded it.
No, I don't.
No,
think
we
we-
have just the 26th, right?
And then I
Yeah.
guess on, it was Abatini instead of Abatoni.
Oh, boy.
Everything.
That's-
Oh, there,
That's
yeah.
a common mistake.
Pasta dish.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. All right, yeah, so we just have the 26th to consider.
yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the amended, corrected minutes.
Second.
All right, thank you, Josh. Tom seconds. Any discussion? Those in favor? Right, motion carries. Financial reports today. We have payroll warrant 17.
I'll make a motion to approve payroll warrant 17.
Second.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Lou. Any discussion? All those in favor? All right, and we have an accounts payable 18. I can make a motion to move AP 18.
Second.
Thank you, Tom. Any discussion? All those in favor?
I'm setting this one out.
All right, let's move. And you abstain?
Abstain.
Josh is abstaining. Okay. So that's financial reports out of the way. Andy, do you have any citizen comments or general correspondence to share?
Take one of those and pass them down. You want to go on yours? You want a copy of what you sent or no?
All right.
Well,
Back up
I'll,
another hat, different
I'll
hat this
put a
time?
different hat on. So John Roberts, I'm representing the Villagers Alike Committee. I apologize for the tardiness of getting information to you. It's basically the same as what we've done over the past 6 years. We're looking to have the same parade the same night, which is Saturday after Thanksgiving. We're trying to arrange the movie to be an inside movie this year because the wind made it very difficult last year. So Lincoln Theater is not available, but Lincoln Academy is. So we're going to try to make something happen up there. So the two asks that we usually have of you guys is the okay to put the trees on the sidewalks. We have 75 trees that will be spread out between NC Hunt on Upper Main Street and the second Congo Church in Newcastle. So and then the other one is to be able to close the road on that Saturday for the parade. So I'm
I
happy
think
to answer
there's
any questions.
Any
or-
objection from the
As
board on that?
as long as things are worked out with the sidewalk contract for the snow plowing and stuff. And
Just talk to him.
yeah,
So-
so as long as that works out like it has and worked
Yeah.
out all the kinks on that, I guess I'm good with that.
Do you know when the Garland is set up is going to be scheduled?
I believe they usually try to do that the Monday before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
It's a lot of the same volunteers from Rotary and Lions that
Right.
help with the little trees on Sunday, so.
Yeah.
Either that, they do it on Saturday while we're doing the big trees. I'm not sure which one they're doing.
So when will they start signing up for trees and stuff and doing the same thing we did before? As a
Yeah,
paper tree and yeah.
we just had our first meeting Friday, so hopefully everything should start going now. It's always a struggle to try to make sure we come to you before we start soliciting money for the trees.
Yeah.
That we won't have anywhere to
Timing.
put, so.
Yeah.
But I expect that will start this week.
Awesome. That's been a great event.
Yeah,
Nice
we're
kind of
excited
caps
to
Caps
come
the
back
year
to
off.
one day instead of having the whole weekend, 2 whole weekends being spread out. So
Yeah. Awesome.
appreciate the
Great.
support.
No problem. Sounds good. Carry on. Right. No, no motion, just a nod. Yeah,
Thank you.
that's right. Thanks, John. Yep. All right. That it for correspondence? Any from?
I had one other that I had added this evening and
Saw
came in
that
this
there,
morning.
yeah.
We had someone reach out last week and was just asking about the river park and the flowers that are down in the planters down there. And
Oh, okay.
the folks that sent the email had acknowledged that they were kind of taking care of those for a good chunk of the summer. They were away for a few weeks, and we don't do any regular upkeep in-house. I think some of the volunteers in the past perhaps just aren't available. And so they weren't looking too great leading up to Pumpkin Fest. And so they had asked about if anything was going to be done or planned to be done. And
Oh, gotcha.
I just let them know, we didn't have anything to plan a second planting. And so that they had taken it upon themselves to do so.
Oh.
It's kind of acknowledging that and thanking them.
Oh, so
for-
this is a before and after. but
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah,
before-
yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
after. I had it
Yeah.
backwards. I'm like, oh, they look really great. And now they're- yeah. So they went into that and planned. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should thank the
Yes.
Millers for doing that.
Yeah.
Yes, we
yeah,
should.
that's great.
Voluntarily.
That's kind of one of those things that falls through the
Yeah.
cracks. You have folks that kind of do it and volunteer and they don't,
We should
Nobody
make a
acknowledged
motion then to have a letter of thanks sent to them from the board.
Second.
sounds good. Any discussion? All those in favor? Right. Letter it is. Sounds good. So, that's awesome. Yeah. Again, don't see anybody online. Any hands up? Miss anything? All right, we'll move right along here. So we've got some capital project updates. Andy?
Some.
Yeah.
Let's see, Church Street. I met with someone today about Fema Grants. So was given notice, I think since our last meeting, that we're not slated for any of the DEP funding that was being talked about. I haven't had a chance to, we've been playing phone tag with the contractor that's been working with the state that town's been talking with. So haven't heard back from him since my last call. So did talk with the consultant that was going to be doing the additional data analysis, and kind of in a pause with him at the moment, just because, if we're not completing the coastwise program to a T, then, he feels that, what he's collected is pretty ample or more than adequate for us to be able to look at other grant funds for. So we're looking at right now the FEMA grant process to see if that's something that would be suitable for that site, which right now it sounds like it might be. And so some of that data that he's collected would be relevant and helpful, timely, because those applications would be due towards the end of the calendar year. So we've got the engineering pretty well along the way. So what they call shovel ready, we might be closer than others, at least,
Yeah.
because we've got all the efforts in there already. So
Bad. Yeah.
just trying to pull some partners together on that project to see what we could put together for a strong application. I think one of the bigger lifts will potentially be to be getting the title and interest, if you will, or the sign offs from property owners. So we got to research that a little bit, for those grants, like we do with EDA in the parking lot. We got to go through all those steps to satisfy that. So that might be one of the bigger lifts between now and the end of the year, but we'll keep looking on and going down that path if the board feels like that's a good solution. It's upwards of $2 million, I think, at the upper end of the grant award. So between the crossing, and the scope would likely include everything up to 1B.
Right up through, yeah.
And we still have to
Mhm.
do something, pull together what we need to have, we have still have some grant loan or bond proceeds left from the other two road projects, but I don't think it'll be as much as was originally anticipated. So
Yeah,
just gotta see how those first two go.
see how, yeah.
Well, it's worth a chance, yeah.
Looking
I mean,
at it,
gotta look at
yeah.
it.
There's actually two FEMA grants, and one of them could just be the crossing, which we might apply for. That's due in January. They just pushed it back. Then there's another one that would be more encompassing of, the kind of the community impacts and
Mhm.
a more broader look at it. So we'll look at both of them. If you're going to commit to the bigger one and submit that application, you got everything you need for the other one. So
Right.
it's just different scoring criteria, different pool of money.
Mhm.
So we'll look at both of those. As far as the parking lot project, engineers are working on the as-built designs. It's kind of a final step to be able to transfer, ownership of the pipe. We'll have Amanda draft up the easement, I think is what she'll have to do, to be able to give the easement for the lines under our property. And we'll be able to move forward with that. We'll be sending off, I didn't get it out today, tomorrow, the revised budget. So we've sent the revised scope of work to EDA, so we could get moving forward. Then they asked for a revised budget, acknowledging that one of the scopes is significantly reduced if we're
Oh,
not
gotcha.
constructing the wall. So we'd given them a revised budget,
Yeah.
which we just finalized yesterday. So we'll send that off this week, and hopefully it'll hit their committee meeting this month,
Hopefully.
and in November, hopefully we'll get a nod to move forward.
There's always one more piece, isn't
Yeah.
there?
I hope they used up-to-date unit pricing.
I hope so.
Not the 3-year-old stuff.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
Whether it's enough, we'll find out when it goes to bid, but they did
boy.
refresh the numbers. For the causeway, did have a meeting last week with Brooks at the hospital, from the hospital. I met up here with a couple of folks in the community that are kind of doing the fundraising efforts to try and help find that gap to be able to put that raised granite curb sidewalk in. And they're hoping that they could have 2 more weeks. Anton was there as well and advocated for that from his group, but also said there really should be a timeline out of concern for being able to sign the contract and to get, some of the pipe. I talked to Steph, some of that pipe is,
Mhm.
I think is the one that they're likely going to need is the shorter timeline, but some of the other pipe is upwards of 30 weeks. So, wanting to get that something solidified on that. So, but they are hoping, sounds like there's an honest effort, serious effort to, try and potentially raise the funds to go to Bristol Road, I guess is, kind of the, the effort there. So it sounds like,
Is there an estimate how much more they need to raise?
I don't know how much more they need to raise. I know from what we have and what we've put in. So, it was about 70 grand to be able to get the raised granite on the causeway, and it's the engineers were estimating upwards of another 150 potentially to get everything done, the water lines, the sidewalk, everything up to Bristol Road. So that's what we left them with.
So there's a concerted effort.
Yeah.
And as the contractors here, so the contractor, all right with. We need a set, I think we said it last meeting, like 2 weeks, that's it.
Right.
So 2 weeks,
But
that's
2
it.
weeks, that's it.
It doesn't matter, really, it's just the order and stuff.
Right, materials and whatnot, yeah,
Pipe right now, about 22 weeks, and ductiles about 30.
yeah.
Scott's gonna go HCP, get everything else the same, so we got a little extra time, but we gotta get that order. Valves, I don't know timing on valves just yet, valves will be the other one, especially if we have to do insertion valves, sorry.
Oh, yes, you get the microphone, I forget, just gonna throw something at me, so. I mean, but like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it sounded
They
like,
need goals, I mean, they've got to have a deadline for their end too, to say, hey, we're raising funds, but it needs to be in by then, so.
and that sounded agreeable for them. as
Yeah,
well,
okay,
so.
if it's agreeable, to all parties, I don't have any reason why, anybody else have any? Yeah. Head nod, I guess, yeah.
All right. On Egypt Road, just noting, I think it sounded like there may be a section of Egypt Road that was not, in the best condition currently, in that the specs may not have called for as much work. I think it's the section between Rocky Run and Biskie Road. Looks like some of the base work is kind of failing a little bit through there. So it's just something, not asking for anything at this moment, just kind of bringing it to your attention. Might be something to just take a look at before we do any significant work to it, just to see, do we need to do more? If not, fine. But
Yeah.
it was just raised.
Was that from, did the engineers, was that something they discovered or what?
No, not yet. So I haven't asked them
Oh,
about that
gotcha.
yet. So I'll see
Okay.
if that's something the next
Yeah.
time we get them down here. I would need to,
It's a pretty rough patch through there.
yeah, we need to bring Andrew back and at least talk to him about the Church Street piece and try and make sure we get some of those numbers going on that for the grant purpose. So I'll loop him in on that as well and just kind of get his eyes on it.
I assume that they're going to do something to block off the little dirt path that goes between Rocky Run and Biskie Road. As you come around the corner where Rocky Run meets Biskie, there's always been a little gravel path there, which I guess the owner of the property has gone ahead and blocked off.
That's private property, isn't it? Isn't that?
That's part of, I think,
corner?
their property.
Yeah,
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 Yeah.
Yeah, on one end. Will anything else be done to that?
That
Ozzy.
isn't.
that's not public.
No, I
comment.
Just gonna get mad
As
if we-
far as them blocking it off.
Oh, I don't know. It's
Be up to
not part
the,
of
should be up to the landowner.
Landowner, yeah, it's out of the scope. It's not, it doesn't
Yeah.
connect to.
Yeah.
It's not touching Rocky Run or anything about the corner, so yeah.
They put trees across it. Oh,
Yeah, I'd say occasionally they block it
Yeah,
off, yeah.
they, and put a little notice there.
there's some hot top there.
We used to,
Yeah.
we used to get, Charlotte Simmons used to take the bus down through there. for
Hey,
a
sure.
good-
Shh. Secret, you can't.
Yeah, you can't say anything about that.
I'm not saying it's.
Sit in the back.
That's the-
She's
Sit in the back. You had them
They'll
sit-
probably get a lightning bolt, and send it down to you, Daryl.
Statute of limitations is way over on that one, so, yeah.
I'll take the responsibility for Andy on that section of, it's my recommendation, it's my fault, or I won't say fault, but obviously with plowing coming, I had proposed that we try to seal that up, just put a real thin overlay over that for the winter so that we can maintain it a little bit better. It also allows you guys to recoup your investment because you're looking to reclaim that area. We wouldn't be hauling anything away. You'd just be reusing that as base to restabilize it. So it's a good stopgap measure just to try to hold you through for the next 6 months or so. If that
Oh,
starts
okay.
blowing away in February, there's not a lot of options we can do besides coal patch. So it's just something to hold you through basically as a Band-Aid. And I can forward an email to that, just an observation of the contract docs, and then you can take it to Andrew and do whatever you want, but I can kind of prompt that. So
Gotcha.
that's my fault. That's all me.
Yeah.
Apologize.
No, it's fine. It's just, yeah.
Thank you.
Observation, so, yeah.
Yeah.
It is a rough patch through there. That's like a
Mm.
15-mile-an-hour zone right now, I think.
That's good.
It's got, sure slows things down.
I think it'd be good for the engineer, for Andrew to look at it, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
say, are we gonna do it disservice by just
Right.
putting an overlay over it and not trying to
Right.
get more material in there
Yeah.
and trying
Yeah.
to fix it?
No,
So-
absolutely. So we want to get ahead of this stuff. when we
So
can.
years ago, I
Ledge
think,
is close there. Ledge is
I
real
think the
close.
ones that paved it prior to it, there was talk before years ago that they didn't use the tack coat that they were supposed to use.
Mhm.
Delaminated.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some of that, but I mean, I totally agree with you. That area though is hard, right? In the wintertime, we always get cold spots right through there. That ledge is close down through there. It's,
Yeah,
you know, where it comes, drawing a blank on the house, the gray,
Cheryl Grace.
thank you. Yes. You know, that ledge is right there on the side and it just runs through there. It goes right through on Rocky Run too.
Yeah.
Because it's cold right there. So,
Yeah.
you know, you get a little bit of differentiation in the saddle and it's just eating the road up.
There's
It just,
Quite a temperature difference there.
there is quite a
Yeah.
temperature difference.
It's been
Yes.
a hard spot there, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can look into it and make sure we got a plan going forward, so we don't do anything halfway, so. Sounds good, yep.
Right. Other than that, just update on public works stuff. We were scheduled to rent the excavator and return it today. It wasn't ready until yesterday. They had some repairs they had to do to it and they were held up by the company that was supplying giving them the supplies and doing the work on it. So, just kind of shifted that a little bit. So the Keen Woods culverts he wasn't in today, so I didn't talk to him about it, but we're looking to do that following, next week we'll do it. It'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're gonna have the machine. And then if we have to get it back, we'll get it back for the septic tank, but there's a chance we might be able to get that within those 3 days. So just update on that part. The pump out barge was pumped out again. I know the staff were just noting that it seems to have gotten a lot more use this year. So it was just a reminder with Cheryl and I, we were talking, just making sure that the grant's still covering some of those costs. And just need to keep an eye on that. And then we'll plan to take that out towards the end of October, I guess is when that usually comes out. So just timing that with the big tides. I think that last week of October, there's an 11-foot tide or so coming. So try and time it with that. I think I put that in the newsletter that just went out.
Yeah, I think
Monday.
Yeah, wasn't in that. Yeah.
That and the kayak racks. We'll schedule to take those out. I think that Monday, I think it's Halloween at this point. Other than that, Pumpkin Fest this weekend. So they're been working here and there to get ready for some of that. They were off today, acknowledging they're going to be working through the weekend. So I think tomorrow's the deployment of the pumpkins. So that'll be
Afternoon.
they'll be on hand for some of that work. And then Friday morning, I think they have to unload the barricades. And then there'll be Saturday, Sunday, and some on Monday.
Saturday.
Weather's looking really good, so they're anticipating some crowds still on Monday.
Weekend, so hopefully it'll be a good manageable crowd and absolutely. Well,
Other than that, the rest of the stuff in the report's coming up in the rest of the meeting.
okay. Thank you, Andy. Yeah. All right. Well, we can move right along here. So we'll get through official action items. So where do you want to start with a winter maintenance contract extension? I'm gonna bring you maybe Seth bouncing back and forth from the microphone here. I'll leave him in. So yeah.
So
All right. So I think everybody's got proposals and whatnot, and yeah.
I had prepared the memo for you and shared kind of a summary overview of what's being proposed. Seth had come to me and shared, and this is something that was happening in some of the neighboring towns as well. And a lot of the, some of the state contractors sound like we're having some similar challenges with the increase in cost over the last couple of years, especially. So Seth had come in, had shared this with me, and we'd had a couple of conversations about it. So it's something for the board to, I guess, think about. We're in the middle of a contract. And there was a proposal for the opportunity to extend the contract now for the additional 2 years as it has in there, and reconsider the pricing for these next 4 years. And the other option was to look at a single year and just reevaluate things in the spring. So I don't know how the board would like to proceed, or if you need more information on what's been provided. Let's see here. I assume within this, there's some room for, I know there was some, I reached out to you, Daryl, and the questions about other rooms for cost saving within the contract, or the ways we can talk about, do we want to try and talk about scaling back any of the performance standards that are in there, and kind of trying to get a sense of what the community's tolerating a difference in. Seth had some ideas, or was open to ideas and having conversation about what some of those could look like.
Well, the big question is whether I know there's some room for reduction in services, or possible reduction in services. The question is where, as long as the public is aware that there could be some changes there, and do we get some cost savings there, and if everybody's okay with it. That's what I was leaning towards. We've got the contractor in front of us over here, so we'll ask him. Yeah. So, are there areas where reductions can be made that don't, we got to balance out public safety, right? So
Right.
do you,
I mean,
put you on the
snowplow,
hot seat here, but,
well, the hot seat, really, to be honest with you, coming and speaking before you guys, is since you've added all these cameras, I just noticed that this spot right here on the back of my head is gotten really big and bright. So we got to fix that somehow, but that's,
I get some,
Yes,
some spray paint.
that's the worst. That's the worst part about all this, to be honest with you. I was looking at that going, oh boy, that's really bad. But
yeah, you took your hat off, see?
yeah, that's a bad thing. No, I mean, you know, snow plowing is a hard situation because we're dealing with a bunch of unknowns, right? We don't know what the weather's going to be. If we could predict that, then it would be far easier to say, hey, I think it would be a great idea to reduce this or reduce that. Are there ways that we can do things differently? Absolutely. Will those have a direct impact to the bottom line? Sure. We can reduce, what we have for salt priority roads. We can reduce applications of that. This really comes down to the driving force of just where the market's at more than wanting to change the contract. When we sign these long-term contracts, we do so under the understanding that, one, for the financial world, in order to finance equipment, it makes it way easier. And two, it's better for the towns because you tend to get usually a better deal with a little bit longer job security. So that's why these 5-year contracts became popular. I think it's very safe to say that no town, or quite frequently even any government, would have predicted where we have been in the economy in the last 12 months. We could typically always forecast within reason a certain amount of increase. We could usually absorb certain increases, knowing that some years are more flush than others as far as weather goes. But in particular, this last 12 months have been extremely challenging and stuff that we couldn't forecast. The degree to which some of our things that we need to operate have risen are far beyond our normal cost of living, typical increases. So, we use a lot of salt in this town, which is great. It provides a great service and people are very much accustomed to it. It definitely provides for a safer traveling public way. And there's other environmental benefits to it, but it comes at a cost. So it's just a matter of weighing how we want to do that.
Salt has gone up. How much now? It's crazy.
Salt's up over 33% this year, just this year alone.
What's product availability? It's available, but it's just expensive.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, but you still get it.
Oh, yeah.
You still get it now.
How much of the increase is associated with the salt increase, do you think, just roughly?
See, I'm glad that, so right now, the difference in salt from where we were last year, or where we were when the contract started now, is 53%. And of that, the percent of the contract, it's 37% of the contract.
So 37% of the 53 is,
So it's gone up by 53% since the beginning of the
Yeah.
contract. And of that, it's 37% of the overall contract.
oh,
So
okay.
over a third of the contract.
Is that both contracts?
That increase? No,
No, is it, because there's two separate contracts we're talking about,
Yep.
so I know the downtown's all salt
yes.
and the road is
No.
a mixture, so.
So I can get over to that sheet. We treated the two separate contracts separate, Josh, so we kept the
Mhm.
downtown one separate. And I have the same information for that, and I can get you those.
So
numbers as
this is
well.
the road,
This is roads.
okay, just
Yeah.
making sure which one we're talking about.
Yeah,
so.
no, the information I'm specifically speaking about right now is roads. Yes, there are very particular nuances to the downtown contract. You're right. Those, we don't have as much flexibility to change in some aspects because the DEP regulates what we can and can't do for our overboard discharge permit. That really limits us to, we can't change the salt down there, not unless we want to remove the snow. So if we want to continue to use the overboard discharge permit, which I would highly advise you don't get away from that, because as soon as we do, they're going to make you, and the cost for removing it will be astronomical.
Yeah,
That caveat to that is absolutely no sand. They don't want that sediment in the river, where the salt in theory is returning to its natural habitat.
So what's your estimated salt? How many tons you're using on the roads?
All right, great questions. And here's where we have to use a little bit of common sense, right? These numbers are based on theory, so I can give you math based on number of storms, number of applications, number of miles. What that does not account for is actual use. Okay, and it also doesn't account for any time that we want to use something in excess of just once application. So if I use 20 storms, for example, and we say we use an average of 3 applications, if I do 5 in that storm, it doesn't capture this. So by math, right now, the number of tons of salt that we should use just for the roads should be 512. Okay, and then you add what you mix in with sand, which is 105. So the total amount of salt is 617 tons.
Mhm.
But that's in theory. I can tell you from a practical application, we're typically over 1,000 tons of salt a year.
So you're using the actual experience from last year to project into this year, or
Nope.
you change the project, the parameters?
Great, that's another fantastic question. Everything that I have to forecast right now is based on theory, not off of actual, because if I go off of actual, I was afraid of misrepresenting the truth to give you inflated numbers that may not be. So I wanted to be cautious and use what I have for actual figures, you know, based on number of storms and a little bit more of a conservative approach. And that is because I needed to plot and apply a mathematical theory to an unknown to be able to give you that number.
So I mean, you predicting a worse winter, or a equal winter, or a better winter?
So right now,
No one could answer that. right?
well, right now, I'm basing it on 20 plowable events, 42 events worth of service. So that's basically 20 plowable and 22 sanding.
And how many did we have last year?
Hold on one second. And I don't know if I can get on the survey here. I do keep track of that. And if I can, we have to keep track of that for the discharge permit for downtown.
Yeah.
And let me see if I can find that for you. Seconds. Last year.
While you're looking that up, I mean, would it make sense to have I know we don't have a lot of time here, but we'd have to pull the Public Works Committee together. Josh, you guys are on the Public Works
Yeah.
Committee. Would it make sense for the Public Works Committee to work with a contractor and look at some options for cost savings?
I would think so.
Yeah, and
You-
I've talked to Andy and I did talk to Daryl
Yeah.
a little bit about trying to scale back. Going to the sand salt mix.
Yeah.
And try to cut a tonnage back for salt.
Yeah.
And then if the contractor wants to use salt, that's on him, but scaling it back.
Back in some places.
We're mixing a pretty hot yard at 140 pounds per yard. So whether or not I can do the math and make it look
Yeah.
good.
And that's really good.
Jeff can use
Good to-
less salt.
Use less salt and use more of the mix, sand salt mix to accomplish the same thing.
What will that accomplish as far as
Bring down
condition
your,
of the
bring,
roads
bring down your
and
costs.
Safety.
It shouldn't have any effect. Because that's what they're using on back metal in Egypt and we're surviving now, so.
Your
Well,
opinion on that?
To answer your question, 31 events last year,
Total.
31
Total.
total. So we had 10 less than,
So you're predicting a worse winter.
well, again, I'm using a mathematical theory over averages of 42 events. You know, some years we're seeing 23, 25 plowable and only 16 sanding. But last year, you know, for a total of 42 events, last year we had 31. So it gives you an idea where we're at. It was fairly light last year. We track inches, which I can give you in a different spreadsheet. We track inches. Last year's total amount of inches was way down.
Yeah, so
Total. So
Yeah.
This is way over my head, so I think if with the experience that Joss has and you on the Public Works Committee, I think it's best for the Public Works to do.
Well, I mean,
Do it a little bit.
if you do some of the math and you know, if you've got 100, you've got 2,000 pounds in a ton, you can mix 14 yards of sand salt mix with that 1 ton based on what our figures are. So that's doing making your product go
Yeah.
bigger,
Yeah,
you know, and the cost is less.
but if that's something the Public Works and you being on the Public Works recommends, then he has to come back and calculate what the impact would be in the cost basis, right?
The material is going to be a lot less
I understand that,
money.
but he's got to figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna change. We're gonna
Right,
change.
the scope's gonna change.
No, material is gonna dramatically change. Because right now we aren't applying hardly any sand to almost half of your town.
Well, it's been working.
That's
Well, I
right.
mean- I mean, it would stand to
The-
reason
the-
there's gonna be.
There's gonna be some-
Right, there's gonna be some reduction. We've got to be.
We gotta-
realistic that
we gotta
there will
figure
be some
something out.
reduction In services, in.
The reason that you
10%,
don't,
right?
the reason that you don't see it is because we absorb it. We absorb that. Rather, we use 1,200 ton one year, or we use 900 ton, whatever it takes to get that. Currently, under your current contract, we absorb all of that. You don't see any increase. Okay?
Yeah.
So what happens is that if we're going to take away the salt, all right, we have to change that to our sand usage. So the sand usage will go up, the salt usage will go
Right.
down, the sand usage will go up. The numbers that you have, the total tons of salt and the sand will increase because you still got to mix with that. The raw will go down, but your service on your road is not going to be the same.
Yeah, that's
Right.
right.
100% is not going to be the
Yeah.
same.
Some heavier sand there. so.
Well,
That
I
makes
guess I'm
sense.
a little confused, I guess, because we have that as Egypt and Back Meadow and as salt priority. But you've come to meetings before to say that that mix that you use is the same effect of what a salted road is. So I guess the confusion is you tell us one thing one year, but now you're telling us a different thing now.
Well,
No, I'm not. Let me clarify 1 second here. You're drawing assumptions, Josh, to something that if we want to discuss that in detail, I'll be more than happy to do so. Your salt application per yard of sand, if it was that mathematical equation, if you were to apply that in straight salt to those roads that are salt priority that are listed within your contract has a maximum amount of salt application, which is the same amount that is in the sand. So what you're seeing is exactly what your contract is for the amount of salt to be applied. You're seeing that benefit. What we're doing on the other roads to get them to be what you see exceeds that an extreme amount. And you don't burden that cost. We burden that cost. If I applied your contract language to those roads, then you would see the same thing that you're seeing out on those other roads because I am following exactly what your contract says. So when I've been here before to illustrate to you that salt is being applied in the correct manner, I am being exactly honest with you because we are applying the exact amount of salt as per your contract. The problem is that it's not enough. It's not used appropriately on those roads. And we go above and don't ask for any extra compensation on the rest of the roads. So you assume that the contract language is working when in fact it isn't.
so Seth, I
You see a
think,
different
to
end
turn it
result.
around a little bit, I think what the board is saying is that we have to find a way to reduce the cost.
Yes, absolutely.
So that means you have to have like a dialogue in detail, which I think should be done at the Public Works, recognizing that we don't have the money. So we
Yep.
got to find a way. We need, since you obviously know a hell of a lot about this, we need you to think about coming back to us with the ways that we could reduce the cost.
Yeah, that's no
Yeah,
problem.
As opposed to us
That's
poking
it.
around and trying to guess what the
Working.
ways are. You got to come back, tell us what you can do.
Yeah.
You're the expert.
Yeah, and I mean, we have a couple different ideas and we can certainly discuss that with the committee as you see fit. I mean, that's absolutely a possibility. What we're facing here now is just a matter of whatever changes we have to affect. We just need to be able to plan for
Yeah,
the future,
exactly.
you know, how it affects the long-term goal
Yep.
here is going to be in play.
Well, that's what, yeah, there's two things in play, right? There's a short term
Correct,
stopgap right now.
exactly.
And then there's the longer term, and that's why we're trying to avoid like a complete change in the contract, because it's a
gap.
longer
Yeah.
conversation.
Correct.
And in this short, a relatively short span of time, I think probably our best solution is work with I think everybody's got some ideas, everybody in we can bring something to the table. So is that acceptable? And do we have time to, I guess we'd have to see when we can, I mean, how soon are you available? And we've got to see when the I'm pointing fingers all over the room here.
I
Because half the public works committees
think,
here.
I think we could take some of your suggestions, my suggestions, and kind of put them on paper with Andy.
Yeah.
And bring them,
yeah,
and bring them
contractor,
to our Public Works Committee meeting and just kind of put those on paper and see, what we as a town want to go. How do we want to reduce the
Yeah.
cost increase?
Right. And
then we can figure it out from there.
Yeah, and you've got you've already got somebody, so you can and you bring you in the fold or whatever, so.
But on the roads part, I think that's gonna be the easier one to decrease. The downtown one is gonna be the hard one to decrease.
Yeah, the major driving factors downtown is material and quite frankly, just labor.
Yeah, that's a hard one. Yeah, that's a hard one. No.
Good.
And your overhead costs, fuel, et cetera.
Yeah, that's all factored into that. That's, that's what driving. Right now, we're looking,
Not a lot of room for reductions downtown.
No.
It's a different now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, other than the
Could be.
expectation of what it looks like.
Right, expectation. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
exactly. That's.
Have you
Driven off of
factored in
that, yeah.
possible increases in fuel?
yeah, so I mean, all of the stuff that we have, that's the complicating factor is this is every particular item then has 2 or 3 variables that are attached with it. So our reasoning for coming to you guys saying, listen, we've got a problem with what we have for our contract amount isn't because we're trying to attract any extra profit. It's to cover some of this stuff. Fuel on our side of the equation, it's not fair for us to ask for an increase with a signed contract if fuel prices return back to where they were. That's part of the deal,
Well,
right? So I've been trying to come up with a way to slide the scale so that as these things move and as they hopefully return back to normal, that we can actually see a reduction in the cost just by the simple fact that our raw costs have come down. The unfortunate thing is when I put this presentation together, or not presentation, but when we were starting to do this mathematical formula was 30 days ago, fuel was well over $5 a gallon. Now it's not. I don't know what's going to be after the election outside of political conversations. I think it's safe to say that we know it's tied to it in some way. So is it going back up? Is it going back down? So each one of these, same thing with a commodity, right? Salt has been quoted for the year. There's nothing that says that in January, if we have a global economic change, that price doesn't change. So I don't want to come back to the board, but at the same time, I'm trying to treat the board effectively,
The problem, Seth, is that there are a lot of categories that are having the same effect on our budget.
yes, of
We
course,
have a budget,
yes,
and this is coming in after the budget.
Yep.
And we have so we have to find ways to reduce it.
sure.
I mean, that's,
Well, I think the best course of
Yeah.
action would be that,
Yeah.
we can take what we've talked about tonight and get the committee together. I guess scheduling wise, because I think the contract should be part of that. 'Cause
Sure.
you've got, you can bring some ideas into where we could scale back and.
I mean, there used to be,
Yeah.
we used to have years ago, we used to have a fuel circuit breaker when it got to a certain point.
Oh, sure.
And then when it got to another certain point, and when it got to another certain point.
Yeah.
So there was 3 thresholds that needed to be met. And as long as you could show, the contractor could show documentation during that time frame, then they were reimbursed for the fuel circuit
Gotcha.
breaker.
And those are things to consider going forward, right? And
That was one way we'd handled it before when it went up years ago.
when you have this meeting, I recommend you set aside 2 hours because there's a lot of detail that you
Yeah.
have to go through.
Yes, it can get complicated
Okay.
quickly. You're absolutely right.
Was that acceptable to?
Yep.
All parties at this point, Andy? That's something we can pull together and.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Be a tall task to have it by the 19th. Given
Well,
big weekend here this weekend, the holiday, but we can, I don't know if the first week in November, that first meeting in November, that kind of have a final proposal, maybe we can try to pull together within the next 2 weeks. Given that, certainly can try. Just acknowledging it's gonna be a little tight to probably try and get everyone's schedule to line up just right for a couple hour meeting.
Yeah.
But, we can try.
Well, if you don't do it for a couple of hours, what's gonna happen is you're gonna have to have another
Right.
meeting.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, at least have it long enough to be able to get a good understanding of like, what, what all the options could be.
Yeah,
And then be able to
exactly.
have
Yeah,
you have time to run the numbers on it and come back So here's what I think the savings could be if we reduce this or remove this or, take this service back to get this point.
I think that's a good plan.
Okay.
We gotta, we don't have a
Think
choice.
Yeah,
Good, yeah, working on we're all working towards the same goal, but everybody's gotta,
right.
yeah, I think we can get some, work together on it and.
Yep.
The only thing I just wish it happened in June, July.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that would be good because gas fuel was at $6 a gallon in July instead of 4.
That's where the threshold would have come in.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, but-
So,
And
Sooner the better, the notice.
And in full disclosure, a lot of this, some of the stuff I was waiting for because I didn't know salt, they weren't quoting salt in July. We just got our salt and we just signed with the state for the state purchasing because everybody has been waiting to see if this curve, when it's going to break and to what degree it's going to impact us. So I didn't bring to you in July because on some sense of this, I was waiting to see just what degree of impact this was going to have.
Yeah.
And so that's, some of that's on me. And then other parts of it, I'm just as much a victim to the world economy as anybody else.
I
Okay.
brought up fuel because I heard an economist talking. California hit new record highs
Yeah.
on fuel, 648,
640, yeah, they hit the other day, LA County
641,
was 646 of 648.
641,
Yeah,
et cetera,
yeah.
And they
it's taking
expect
jumps
it-
again.
to come this way.
Oh, yeah.
It is, it already is. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're seeing it on the bottom end already.
How much
so.
you gonna?
I haven't moved yet. We're our cushion is getting
Yeah.
compressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to hold.
You
but
might not get a Christmas bonus.
Might be riding my bike to work.
Yeah.
All right, that
I'll
sounds like
drop
a
you
good
off.
plan.
I'll drop you off.
Drop me off, yeah.
Shoot me an email and let me know
Yeah.
whatever works for you guys. And I will try to do my best to accommodate.
Yeah, I know
Whatever the
everybody's
committee is.
busy, but we can get this moving along. It'd be great. Yeah, we can
Probably
get some ideas, throw some stuff together.
afternoons. Probably. I know what's your work schedule, Seth?
I
usually?
can try to, I can bounce pretty good. So I can be, if it's afternoons work better for you guys, just shoot me,
Yeah.
when you get a litmus of what's going on, just send me a message. and I'll try to.
I can't do it Tuesday. I got soccer practice.
All right. well,
Afternoon.
Still working on that?
Thanks
Thanks,
for
Seth. Thank you, Seth. Yeah.
Thank you, Seth.
Yeah. Well, we'll come up with something to hopefully keep everybody happy. Yeah.
I guess my thing would be to have you put something on paper and we'll put something on paper and see where we can, some ideas. Just
Yeah, okay.
cost saving
Yeah.
stuff,
I can send,
Yeah.
I can send some stuff over.
and then we can figure it out from there.
There's some some
Yeah.
good heads in this group, so it'd be good to, see what
Yeah.
come up with. So awesome.
I'll send you some stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Go home. All right, sounds good. We can keep moving right along here. Where are we at here?
Cemetery deed.
Cemetery deed, right? The cemetery deed. All right.
Usually move that real quick.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the cemetery deed and perpetual care agreement for Richard and Dorothy Smith.
Second.
Salute seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? All right, motion carries. Okay, and we have the general assistance ordinance revisions that we had the hearing on.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed changes to the general assistance ordinance as presented.
Thank you, Josh. Tom's gonna second that. Any discussion? All those in favor? Right, motion carries. And we have a grant, we have two grants here. Accepting.
We have two. So one of them was the funds from the Island Institute
Mhm.
for the additional data analysis for that coastwise project. So just kind of gonna go down the path of FEMA for a little bit and
Mhm.
see if there's a additional data that's needed for that one. But may need to reach back out to them
Right.
and see what we need to get that back or not, but we have that came in. The other one is from a municipal association. That was the policy work that the chief's going through and the department's going through to update their policies.
Oh, yeah.
MMA, there was an opportunity at that moment while Jason was at the training and they said, if you fill this out, we can reimburse you. I think it was $5,000. So 2,500 now.
Yeah.
The additional 2,500 once it's complete and you've been accredited.
Nice.
So that's a good thing, as a member. So he applied for that before, we got getting approval. And so that the check's here and
That's fine.
Nice. All right.
Good.
I'll make a motion to accept the grant awards from the Island Institute and Maine, two separate ones, Island Institute and Maine Municipal Association, Island Institute for $9,995 and the MMA one for 2,500.
Thank you, Josh.
Second.
Lou seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? Yeah, motion carries. Personnel policy amendments, I think everybody's got a chance to look through that. Are we all happy with the,
I was gonna ask I didn't see the estimates for the cost of that,
which one?
the increases in the insurance.
The right now, so it's there's 4 people that are in that group one, myself, the chief, Cheryl and Isabel. So it's a little all over the place because mine's a little different from the others. Chief's is different from the other 2, and one has a buyout. So I think the full value of the again, it's different if you're family or single. I mean, right now, I think the additional cost, because one's getting the buyout, so that doesn't change. So I want to say it's in the ballpark of like 2,500 to $3,000 a person to go to 100%.
So about
times 4, but
7,500.
one, I'm already there, and then the chief was, I think, 80 per pay period is what he's capped at for contributing. So that's where it's like, again, so for the group one, the salaried employees, that's the only difference, not getting the overtime. So I think, is this an opportunity to at least say, something a little extra, acknowledging you're salaried?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get.
And so I think it's,
7,500.
thereabouts.
Okay.
And not proposing that to go into effect now, but that would be that, because we budgeted already for this year, but proposing
Okay.
that part of it to go into effect in July.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the personnel policy amendments as stated.
Second.
Thank you, Tom. Lou's gonna second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. And is that it for official action items, Andy? I think
That is.
we went through that. didn't
Looks
we?
like Tom's up.
Yeah, Josh, you almost carried all those, so we'll
Probably.
yeah, Tom, you got
So
some updates from CLC?
just a
Yeah.
couple of things. We had a meeting, so the meeting is like once a month. We had a meeting, couldn't get a quorum. Nobody showed up. So we had to cancel, but
Yeah.
going forward, we have another interim meeting to address the fact that Edgecombe may not be renewing their contract, although they haven't voted on it. And if they don't, then the increase for all the towns, including us, will go up a little bit. It's not a lot, but it's going to go up. And as a result of the lack of attention to the matter, because it's been on the table for a while, that the CLC board is asking that a member of our budget committee, each town member of their budget committee, attend the next meeting. It's on the 17th, Monday. So I don't know, I don't even know who's on the budget committee other than I think you're on it, aren't you?
No, I'm on the
he's-
county.
He's on the
Uh,
county.
no,
Yeah.
none of us are.
Was Dick McLean still on
I
there?
think Dick was.
When, probably ought to have whoever was the chair or the vice chair, just to
Send
kind
Dick
of
still doing it?
Yeah,
maybe be
Send
there.
them send the group an email, see if one of them.
See if
wants-
somebody
Yeah.
wants to.
Yeah.
and he would be a good one.
Yeah. I'll give you the detail on the time. It's at 5:30 usually, but I confirm it's on Monday, the 17th, I believe.
And then starting the budget again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Thank you,
it.
Tom,
That's
for
it.
keeping up on that.
The Central Lincoln County Ambulance.
That's it.
Yeah, all right, yeah. I think, and Andy brought to our attention on the we get ahead of you? Yeah, the vending license ordinance that
Doesn't make much sense.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so I mean, I don't know if it's been followed exactly to the T
No,
for a while. I think I
No.
know Becky was kind of had a question about, is there even any minutes that actually it's shown that it was adopted in like the late 80s maybe, or in the 90s, and then it was amended in 2016, I believe.
Right, the last.
And so there was some question there. So it's there, it's on the website. It looks like it's all, on the record to go, but it's not really being followed. It came up with Pumpkin Fest being here and some of the vendors asking about it. So we have a fee schedule set that says it's $50 for the vending license for the year. There isn't another fee set to charge a lesser amount for a lesser period of time. But it just kind of bringing it up just to, kind of throw out there, the business licensing was something you've talked about with the goals that you set. And that, if we're going to do that, maybe we just bring
Incorporate.
that
Maybe
into the
incorporate
business
that,
licensing and it's a
yeah, yeah,
particular
different fee schedule,
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
part of it. And try and make it so it makes sense and something that will be followed.
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't think anybody knew it existed, so we're, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll get through this vending season and then
Mhm.
work in progress.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sounds good. Sounds good. No. All right, that's, well, so we do have, Board of Assessors right after this meeting, so for all, if you, anybody minds, we can, we'll go select the discussion items and wanted to, if anybody says anything life shattering to report, well, good, yep. So we can adjourn from the select board meeting and then I can open up the, Board of Assessors meeting if everybody's okay with that.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn the selectmen's meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay, we got Lou and Josh, all those in favor? Okay, so selectmen's meeting is adjourned. With that, we'll call the Town of Damariscotta Board of Assessors meeting to order for October 5th. And let's get right through here. So we'll skip the Pledge of Allegiance as we just did that earlier. And we have minutes, correct, for the 21st? Those are in there any somewhere.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I know they were there. I saw them. Pretty sure. We'll take a look at them maybe.
I'm
Did I not
looking-
put 'em
yeah,
in there?
no, it's in there.
Did you find that they're in there? All right.
That's September 8th. No, that's
Maybe I
not it.
didn't put them in.
I don't know if you did.
September 21st. I apologize for that.
That's all right. That's all
I'm
right.
not gonna hold it against you.
Well,
At least you showed up.
Well, I'm not
Get them
sure.
for the next one.
Like I said, we can do it the next one. Yeah, if we don't have them here in front of us. we can.
I'll make a motion, we tabled those.
All right. Second.
Second,
Oh, I'll give it a little loose seconds, that one. And, sorry, any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, that is so tabled, so. You get my paper bag in front of me. Holy moly, there we go.
yeah, those are some ways.
All right, so we have some abatements here, do
Abatements.
we, Andy, correct?
We do.
All right,
We're three of them.
so it's three, right?
Yeah.
Well, we have an abatement, yeah, Madeline Woodbury. With skincare
Yeah.
and
There's,
Thomas Houseman and Jennifer Fox. Revocable Living Trust, is that correct?
Yep.
Mhm.
That's right, so, okay. So we just do these, we can do them individually, just gonna go through and move them for you,
Yep,
and we gotta state the amount, right? Okay, so, I'll make a motion to move, the abatement for the Madeline H. Woodbury for $612.72.
second,
You, Lou, any discussion? All those in favor? All right,
So we're not gonna see this again, are we? We did this,
That's Matt.
we did this before.
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the system, it didn't get updated to reflect that she wasn't the current owner for this.
Yeah,
tax
for
year.
that.
After we'd already,
after we
already,
acknowledged it. That's right, that's right. That was
Yeah.
familiar.
Yeah.
Okay, that was coming back to me. Yeah. All right, I'll make a motion to move the abatement for Bliss Skincare for the amount of $28.30.
I'll second.
All right, thank you, Josh. Any discussion? All those in favor? All right. And we have one more, so I'll make a, I'm gonna roll here. I'll make a motion to move the abatement for Thomas J. Houseman and Jennifer A. Fox Revocable Living Trust for the amount of,
Oh,
no,
what's that?
that's not, this
No.
is an assessment.
delaying,
Oh, am I, where did I go here?
there should be a one page that summarizes, so that's a supplemental.
That's a
Oh, is that the
supplemental.
supplement? I'm sorry.
You gotta go back to the
That was
Wage Land and
Where did I go here?
delaying land and.
Oh,
financial
geez, I missed
service.
it. Yeah, I got ahead of
that's the,
myself.
that's the one you gotta do.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
take that off, Daryl.
I'm gonna scratch that motion there. So, yeah, I got ahead of myself here. I flipped over. Yeah. So, all right, so let's back up. All right, I will make a motion for Delage Landon Financial Services for an abatement in the amount of $2,715.62.
Second,
Who's got a second? You, any discussion? All those in favor? All right.
Now you can,
Now I can do the other one, right? Yeah. All right, and that's a supplement, right?
Yeah.
Maybe what the difference is on it. It's a supplement.
one you're giving money back and one you're asking for your
And
money,
this is asking, right, yeah, I just get.
asking for the
All
shakedown.
right, all right. So I'll also do this one. I'll make a motion for the supplement, Thomas J. Houseman and Jennifer A. Fox Revocable Living Trust in the amount of, where are we? 585.
Six,
My
612.72, which
Oh,
is,
shoot, I'm
which is
sorry.
balance,
Six twelve 72.
which is balancing out your Madeline Woodbury one.
Which is a balance, yeah. I'm in the Lindbergh. All right. That's my motion. Thank you, everybody.
Second.
Thank you, Lou. Any discussion? All those in favor? Yeah, stumbled through that one, didn't I?
Well, you did all right.
That's right. Professional, right? Okay. And Andy, we've got some discussion items. You wanna?
Yeah,
the, Contract?
the contract, the way it's currently written is it kind of implies perhaps it's a annual contract renewable each year, but it doesn't actually say it. And so, just by the dates that were set in there, looks like it's kind of coming up in November. And if it's
Yeah.
not clear, then I'm proposing we one clarify it. And there were a couple of other points in there that we wanted to make sure we had right at the top there under, one of the firms tasked about dedicating their time and scheduling time here. They are not here 2 to 3 days per week between March and October, nor generally do they need to be based on the workload. And so the way it's written is like they says they will be.
Mhm.
So just, and then again, between November and February, saying they'll be here 1 day per week. It may require more. So just kind of want to clean that up and just say it'll be decided between the town and the company and the firm to be here
Work
when
out
they
the
need it to
days.
be.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
'cause you guys are working together, so it makes sense to
All
allow
we're
some
ask-
flexibility there.
All
Yeah.
we're asking internally is just to have 3 to 4 weeks lead
No,
time,
so
so
you
we
can
can let the
schedule.
public know when they're gonna be available for
Fair
them.
enough.
So that's in there as well.
Yep.
Added the tax stabilization and tax deferment applications. I think
Yep.
it's kind of assumed, but just want to make sure it's clear because some of the other programs are listed out specifically and
It's in there.
there's a little bit of a, maybe concern, there's uncertainty still about our end of processing the tax stabilization paperwork. The state still kind of has to provide a lot more guidance to the assessors on how to track that. We've got a lot of applications that have come in. So we're just kind of filing those and waiting to make
Mhm.
sure we're clear on how the state wants to receive it.
Yep.
For those towns that are on a calendar year, fiscal year, they're gonna test that a lot sooner than we'll have to, so it'll be worked out.
I
Other,
have a-
just making it very clear that they will assist with the abatements and supplements and provide the forms for the board. They have been since they've been here, but just making sure it's in there and it's clear. And then the other big one, I think, is the commitment date. So it's in there that'll be, if it's suitable, that'll be the second Wednesday in July, if we continue to meet on Wednesdays anyways. That's what we're asking for. So that's I think that's what the board was
That's-
hoping that by
Yeah,
by August,
Yeah.
we're able to send the bills out in
yeah,
early
that's
August.
great. Yeah, I'll have that date in there. So absolutely. Yep.
And I think those were the changes.
Mhm. They look good to me.
Yeah.
Good additions, so. Clean it up a little bit.
Oh, and then clarifying the contract again, that it'll be November 1st to October 31st, and that we can renew it each year. Parties agreeing to it in writing. October, I think is a good, if it needs to end for whatever reason, like that leaves you time well before spring work has to be done.
Yep.
So that should work instead of having it fall with a fiscal year, but
That's the cards we were dealt that we had to deal with.
Yeah. Yep, sounds
Yeah.
good, Andy.
Do we have any idea how much new construction is going on? Area.
we do. I can't speak to that right now, but certainly, yeah, through permitting and, we could absolutely provide.
Yeah, that'd be
that.
nice to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know, because my neighbor's putting on a new addition.
Mhm.
And there was a new little house built that we go by every once in a while. And then went ahead. and built a
Oh,
little
yeah.
house.
Yep, on Back Meadow Road there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Because it's moving
Things
around,
like
so,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I will add, I didn't have it. I just met with Rob. He was here yesterday, so he was letting me know. We were just kind of confirming this. The only other thing that I didn't have in that draft before I sent it was he said that typically they do an increase in their service fee. And so we've already kind of set it. So for this part of the fiscal year, from July 1st till now, it
Right.
was set at what it was set at.
Yeah.
But he just said that their prices in July, it would have gone up 6%. So I think it went to 660 or 680 for the day.
Yeah.
I'll just tell him he missed a couple meetings.
Well, absolutely. And he understands that part. I just realized I didn't change. It was still the same 625
Assessors meeting tonight,
before.
set the mill rate,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
we're all good.
Right.
So we're leaving that out.
So we're,
Call it
we're
even.
able to, because
Yeah.
we budgeted for far more days than 108 working days. And so, that's not an amount of days that are needed. So we have the ability to still meet the cost with the increase at 6%.
Right. Well, we kind of went into it kind of blind.
Yeah.
We
yeah,
didn't know,
absolutely. Yeah.
we didn't know where we were at, with our prior. And they didn't want to come into it not knowing what they were getting themselves into.
Yep.
So I think we kind of,
Mhm.
they needed that first year to kind of figure out where we
Right.
were aligned.
I think with any unspent funds at the end of the fiscal year, it might be worth considering appropriating those potentially to the reserve for
For the
reval.
reval,
We'll see
Yep.
what happens by the end of the year, though.
that's a good idea.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Well, we just saved what? $1,200 and something dollars not having them at the next last meeting.
Yeah, there would need to be a motion to have me sign the contract.
Okay, I make a motion that we authorize the signing of the contract for the revisions to the assessment contract.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, carries. Thank you, Andy, for cleaning that up. That's good.
The other thing, much shorter conversation. I can't get into detail and explain the state valuation. Rob will be available if you'd like at a future assessors meeting to kind of explain. I think it's worth, he kind of ran through it with me the other day. I think it's worth knowing that the reval's on the horizon or something you've been talking about. I think there's some good data points in there for the board to understand what the state's kind of saying we're worth. I mean, those numbers are also, those numbers are reflective of the 2021 tax year for the state or assessment year. So it's kind of like a year behind. But there's some good strong numbers in there that I think Rob's got some ideas on for next year in terms of changes in the assessments. Because we are below, we're at an amount where we're below that threshold, so we're not seeing the full value of the homestead exemption and it impacts the tree growth. So if we can get that back up to 90% or higher prior to a reval, and that'll be good. So I think there's things from there that's worth him explaining to the board to see what he's seeing.
Well, even if
We
he
reach
could
out
just,
and-
even if he just wrote a summarized thing of his ideas, that would be helpful too.
But it would be nice to have them come in, and go through some high points and whatnot.
We're gonna cut costs there. We're gonna cut costs.
It's nice to have a face-to-face conversation.
I know.
We'll cough up the 6%. Okay, got it. Yeah. Anything else on the assessment? I think that's it for assessment. Yeah. All right.
Make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
Who made a motion? I'll second. Any discussion? All those in favor? There is so adjourned. So